I'm going to jump right in because the different elements do take a minute to put together. And I believe that we're going to start with our stuffing mix. And while I'm waiting for my pan to heat up here, I really want to just say, my husband and I were talking about God's processes and things, and looking back over, it's been 1 year since we've been in this location. And our first cooking class actually was sides and roast. But I had just four people come, and they were all from FPI, and none of them are here tonight. So I decided I was going to repeat pretty much most of those recipes because they were fun recipes to make, and you can make your holidays fun as well. One will be gluten-free, one will be actually using Vital Wheat gluten, and Dad has to open it. So I just want to give God thanks tonight because it seems like we've come full circle. I can remember, and I will share this story with you, that very first cooking class. We're missionaries, and we traveled cross-country. God provided the funds for us to get here. It was completely miraculous. When we got here, we didn't have the funds to start, but for the first month's rent. For the first cooking class, Rick said, "Will I only have $25 left?" And I went to the store and I said, "Lord, I don't know how you're going to make $25 stretch in this economy, but I'm asking you to bless." I was at the light when my phone rings, and I don't normally answer the phone when I'm in the car, period. It was my cousin, and she said, she hardly ever calls me. But she was like, "I spoke to your mom last night, and she said you guys have moved to a new area and you need some help right now." And she goes, "Will $150 help you?" And so I just want to give God thanks because only He knows. I know I've shared quite a bit with Marie. She's my new neighbor and she helps me every week. Thank you. But truly it is God. Why you see us out each week, many times we did not have the funds to put it together. Either God provided or I would use our grocery money and God would bless. Amen. So we believe firmly in the cause of health and that it clears the mind for us to accept deeper truths. And I just want to give God thanks. Now I have help. I didn't used to have any help. Sister Marie was out here with me till 8:30 last night helping me prep stuff. And I still wasn't ready, but I'm glad you guys are so forgiving and you're back. So I was out of ink, and I apologize, that's happened before too. I was out of ink, and so I will have to email the recipes to you that we did tonight. And I also owe you the recipe. I only had 2 people register for the last class. But if any of you want our breakfast like a champion, let me know and I will send, if I have a consensus that everybody wants them, I'll send them as well. And everybody want breakfast as a champion? Okay, some of those are gluten recipes, but I know your children eat some gluten-free, so. Okay.
So walnuts.
Well, while this is heating up, I'll show you. I know exactly where they are. Excuse me, they can't find my nuts. It's over here, Alicia. It's in here and it's in a Ziploc. Both. And it's walnuts and pecans. You need whole pecans. Yes, he keeps it locked. I apologize. And I thank God for my husband and daughter who put up with me when I'm getting antsy because everything's not going right. So this is my own vegetable broth, and I do use a lot of vegetable broth, as most people do during the holidays. I make my own with, the tips of my carrots, organic carrots, potatoes, onions, etc. I'll make my own when I'm very conscientious, or I will throw together some water, a little salt, onion powder, garlic powder, make up my own, which I did here with some of my poultry blend seasonings. And ultimately, if you want it to taste like chicken, like poultry, thyme, rub sage, rosemary, which we buy this like every other month or so. Celery seed. So those are the flavors that you'd want to go for if you're going to make a gravy, if you're going to make a broth for any of these dishes. And I don't know why it's just starting to heat. I apologize. This does take a minute, but once she starts off, she saw the evidence of it being so hot. I actually burned a hole in the carpet. So, yeah. All right, but that is my broth. This broth is a vegetable broth that I will also buy from Walmart. And you're welcome to take a look at it. I haven't read it in a while, but this is the one that I'll use. Oh, okay. Mostly everybody saw that one, I think. All my regular people would know that I use that one. All right. And when I have 4 cups, because a quart is 4 cups. I do not use all the 4 cups to start. I definitely start with more, about like 2.5 cups. And the reason being is you can always add, you cannot take away. For my first stuffing mix, we used this bread, which is a multi-grain but gluten-free bread. I get this from Walmart as well for just under $6. And so our gluten-free loaf is stuffed with this stuffing, and I'll let you guys see it. It's a tiny loaf, thank you. And for the purposes of ours tonight, which usually the food that's left over, it's usually Rick, myself, and Alicia, and now Marie and her children that eat it. We love Dave's Killer Bread. This is our favorite bread. It's in Rick's hometown in Oregon, and I've been eating it from the time I got married to him. 15 years now. This is my favorite bread. This one is fruit juice sweetened, no processed sugars in this one. So this is my favorite and the one that I use all the time.
So do you get it on the internet?
No. Walmart sells it. Ingalls sells it. Everywhere that I have gone, I have found. And they have a really nice hamburger bun that Rick and I will, during the summer, whole wheat. And we only find that at Ingalls though. And we get it every time because we really love it. So sometimes our freezer has, extra in there. This takes a while, I'm so sorry. We're going to start though by adding our onion. I probably use a lot more than most people. I like a lot of veggies in my stuffing mix. And just going to get those in there. Have a little garlic, which I usually double the garlic. We love garlic too. So one thing I wanted to point out, Rick and I were reading again, not that we didn't know this before, but this weekend we spoke at a church in Charlotte, and we did a cooking class for cancer patients. And we used a lot of garlic because garlic it has anti-tumor properties. It arrests it in its way, or it will, so that it can't grow anymore. It suppresses tumor growth. Also, any cruciferous, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, all wonderful, wonderful things that God has made that actually arrest, cancer tumor growth. And so some of the dishes that we're having tonight will help with that process. Here's some bell pepper I'm adding. I like red and green for this dish, especially in the season. A lot of people decorate with red and green. I'm gonna add here the red bell pepper. And I really love celery with chickpeas. I like celery with anything that I'm doing that I want a poultry type flavor. It really enhances it. And so we have some celery there as well. And this is just starting to come to a boil here. It's little bubbles on the bottom. So we'll let that keep going. And I'm going to move on. I will add this once this heats up. The next thing we're going to do you think both of these can run, or I'm going to blow the power?
Try it. I don't know.
Okay, sorry.
It should be fine.
Hopefully it'll work. So I'm going to use the processor here, and we're going to actually make the gluten-free loaf first. Alrighty. Put that right there. Okay, I'm looking at the wrong one. It's actually the other one over on the side there. So I'm going to move this, excuse me. All right, this is what I need. This group here. All right, so this is actually the multigrain gluten-free that I did earlier today. And we're going to stuff this tofu roast with that. So obviously we're going to start off with some tofu. Let me just put on some gloves here. All right. I don't know how many people notice, but anytime Marie goes to Whole Foods and I go to Whole Foods, I stock up on tofu. That's the cheapest you're going to find, the organic. It's $1.79. Everywhere else is $2 to $3. So I will buy 8 blocks when I go there.
Is that extra firm?
This is extra firm. The one I used in the loaf that they'll put on the table shortly was just firm because I couldn't remember which one I needed. So I pressed this. How I press my tofu is to wrap it in individually into paper towel, put it between 2 cutting boards, and I put my cast iron skillet and then maybe a container of beans on top for half an hour. It will press all the water out, or a lot of it.
Would the super firm work?
Super firm would work,
Okay.
and you would have a nicer texture loaf, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I would use if you have it available to you. I didn't see any when I was at Whole Foods this week. But just break it generally. See, it was still actually draining, so that's good. All right. And Alicia really loves this one. I did not so much, and I'll tell you why. I am not a gluten-free person. I don't have a problem processing gluten. And I notice a lot of gluten-free recipes call for chickpea flour. I don't like it. I really don't like how it tastes and flavors stuff. But she really loves it. And I thought, okay, well, if she likes it, maybe other people will like it too. So, and I do have just More Than You Yummy that's gluten-free in here. What I did to try and cut the flavor of that is to add a little bit of lemon juice. So I got a teaspoon here. Oh, and Yemi, I did publicly thank you. Who was here for our Autumn Delights class a few weeks ago? Yeah? Well, you remember I was boasting of a friend who had such a lovely garden and gave me bags of basil for the pesto and all of the things I did for the ratuli. That's our friend, Miss Yemi Smith. She has such a lovely garden and she gave me tons of herbs. So you have to get friendly with her. Oh, sorry. Thank you. That is hummus, and that was my own homemade hummus. When Rick and I do Greek, I'll make a big batch of hummus and portion it out in cups and freeze it. It actually freezes quite well and thaws out quite well, and you can use it just as you regularly would. So if you want to make homemade hummus, which I've shown you guys how to make in previous classes, just make a big batch, freeze it in, and probably if you can, plastic containers, and then go ahead and use it whenever you're ready. Just take it out and thaw it out. Here is some Bragg's Aminos. This is also gluten-free. And I'll have the exact measurements in the recipe. This,
Did you tell me in the email that
yes, I'm sorry, I ran out of ink today. I also gave this recipe in a previous class, but I'll try to make sure to include it. This is my own chicken style seasoning. So my base is yeast flakes, and then I put those 3 herbs plus some celery seed in there, some salt, some onion and garlic powder. And it'll store up to a year, so I usually make a good amount of it. But we tend to like it on popcorn, so it'll go pretty fast for us.
So are all these flakes equal?
No, there are some that are better than others. I was just given a pack at Northeast Church in at Northeast Seventh-day Adventist Church in Charlotte last weekend, and it's a really, really good brand. Yeah. What I find is the better brands actually are less yellow. They're less yellow. There's a little onion, and I just added some more of those same types of herbs. Again, I want it to have a really nice poultry type flavor. And just kind of distribute those equally. And then this is some fresh organic garlic again. I mean, I eat so much garlic, I don't think any tumor can probably grow inside of me. All right. And it's also anti-parasitic, antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral. A lot of the really healthy people I know eat it raw. Rick and I eat it quite a bit, but it's usually cooked or juiced.
You can buy it pickled too.
I'm sorry?
You can buy it pickled in jars and.
Pickled too. The only concern I would have with pickling might be that the potency, because of it being cooked, might be less. But if that's the way to get it down, I don't have a problem with that, because we do use it in certain of our, like our cough medicine. We will put it in there and put in honey, a little bit of, help me remember here now, ginger, and there's an oil, eucalyptus, Sister White said. So I kind of modified the recipe Sister White gave. So we do cook it in there, so it still has some potency, of course, you know. All right, I'm gonna pulse this, and hopefully it will not trip off here.
Family calls it rocket fuel.
Exactly. So just pulsing it about 12 to 13 times just to make sure everything's incorporated. All right, at that point you want to scrape it down. I can see that I have some chunks of onion. So I want to make sure my onion is getting chopped up in there. Now I'll show you what it's looking like so far. So it's coming together pretty nicely. You guys saw? Thank you, dear. Oh, this was a miracle too. I shared that story already, but it broke my third class, and I paid $400 for this thing. Well, I paid $250. The lady who bought it originally paid $400 for it. And one of the ladies at FPI, she goes, "My neighbor is really handy." And I thought, how in the world is he going to fix this thing? And I was like, sure, I'll go look for him. And I forgot. He called me. His wife called me 2 weeks later. And he was like, just bring it over. He'll see what he can do. He put a little pin because it was kind of missing. And he put a little pin in there, and now it works perfectly. So to God be the glory. And I'm just going to run it now just to see that it, it pulls all that onion in. And that's about where I want it. The one thing I forgot to put in there, so I'm going to put some tahini. I get this from Walmart as well. It's like $4.59. It's organic. And we really like the bottle because it's easy squeeze and it doesn't tend to clump up. I mean, you might get the very bottom layer, but for the most part, we get most of it out because you can keep it upside down. So it'll tend to, that's the beauty of this one. So you're supposed to put about two tablespoons. The three of us like tahini, so might put a little bit more than that. All right. All right. I need some proper pans, but I'm going to be using this tonight. I just bought some for the last cooking class we had out, but I realized, I don't have loaf tins. I need some new ones. Because I've had these from the time I first got married. And they're probably not the best material. I don't know now because it was given to me. And I don't think it says under there. You can't read it. Okay. I'm just waiting for my husband to get the oil for me. And then we'll show you what we do here with this. I need a small bowl as well. One from over there is fine. All right, this is olive oil that we also get from Walmart. I use a lot of olive oil in my hair. I do not use a lot of olive oil in cooking. So the place that I put olive oil is generally on my pots. You'll usually not see me put it in my food.
Can you do parchment paper?
You can do. And I have used those before as well. This is what I have right now.
Do you saute with oil?
I don't. See, you notice when I was growing up, our stuffing, we always started with margarine or butter. I do not. I use water or broth. Broth is more flavorful anyway. So just oiling this really well, and you'll see why when you see the final product. It's very hard to get it out intact. All right, I'm going to take this off because my hands are oily here. And put another one on. All right. So I just had a little bit of the tahini on the top that didn't get mixed in well enough. I'm going to go ahead and fill in most of this, not all, and you'll see why.
Are these recipes your recipes or?
Sometimes I have made them up for myself. Like my recipe was actually made with sprouted grain bread that I would make myself. I do provide a recipe for that. This, my daughter she doesn't really love my turkey roast with the vital wheat gluten. And so I just looked online for one that I liked, and then I started manipulating it for my own purposes. Thank you. All right, when I have it about here and have maybe a third left, then I smooth it out. I'm just trying to smooth it out here. And I'm going to kind of dig out a well in it so that it's a little less than an inch on either side. And I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So So something like this, like you're trying to make a little bed. All right, so you notice like I'm building up a wall there.